All right, so this video is all about where you should live if you're making a move here to the city of Temecula, California. I've lived here in the Valley for over 20 years. I think I can give you some perspective on what it's like to actually live here and where the best places are. Let's go ahead and get into it. Hey guys, hey again, my name is Justin Short. I'm a realtor and team leader with the Short Real Estate team here at Keller Williams in Temecula. And this video is all about the city of Temecula and where you should live and where you should want to live if you're making a move here to the city. I think I can give you guys some really good perspective. I've lived here for just about 25 years now. I've lived in some of the surrounding cities as well, and I think I can give you some really good information about the best parts of the city and where you should be some really good areas and neighborhoods that you guys should target. Before I get to all the information though, if you are liking real estate videos like this, please do me a favor. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Obviously it helps my channel and helps me as we continue to grow it. And then if you guys have any real estate questions, you can feel free to reach out anytime. So you're gonna see my information either down below or at the end of the video. You can feel free, you can call, you can text, you can email me. Happy to answer any questions you may have, happy to help point you in the right direction. Or of course, if I can help you out with your real estate search, would love to do that. That's straight to my cell phone. That's how I earn a living. So would love to be a resource for you, love to help you and your family with a home search. So we'll go ahead and we'll get into it. So I've helped a lot of you guys, a lot of people contact me, especially from these videos, from YouTube that are relocating. Most of you guys are moving from other areas, so you don't know a ton about the city. And so a lot of times I'm really your best resource. Usually people are doing research online, but as far as knowing people in town, I'm really one of the few. And so I deal with a lot of relocating clients. And I think I get a lot of the same questions again and again. So hopefully this will help and hopefully answer your questions to help you along with your search. So one of the big things people always ask is, hey, we've kind of narrowed it down. We've looked, we want to move to Temecula. We've decided we want to live there because, it seems to fit our price range. It's relatively affordable for Southern California, right? Which is really one of the big draws. It has a great school district, which is one of the main selling points here. But what I don't want to do, I want to make sure that I don't buy in the wrong area. I don't want to live in a crummy neighborhood or the wrong place in town. So, and really the truth of the matter is, when you're moving to Temecula, I would say probably about 95% of the city is going to be a really nice area to live in. So that's kind of I guess it's a little bit of a cop-out answer, but it is the truth. Just when this city was built, so Temecula, most of this city has been built from about the mid-90s, so built from like the mid-90s to like the mid-2000s, and that's like the bulk of the city. There are some homes that are a little bit older, and then there's plenty of newer homes that were built 2010, 15, 18, and some still new construction that's still going on, right? So there is a widespread, but that's kind of the meat and potatoes. And with that means you had a bunch of these big tract builders, so these big nationwide builders that came in, they bought up 1,000 acres, right? They subdivided and they built 2,000 houses, whatever it was, 2,500 houses, and built these little neighborhoods. Because of that, and because of so much of the city was built in about the same time, across the board, the city is very, very similar. Yes, some neighborhoods are going to be a little bit nicer than others. Some neighborhoods are going to be a little bit fancier, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and maybe have some cooler things on the HOAs and some better amenities, be a little bit more expensive, and then some might be a little bit less expensive, a little more affordable. But I would say quality of life, driving through the neighborhoods, 95% are going to be really, really nice areas. There is a neighborhood or two that I would really rule out for most people. There is one that's pretty close to the casino in South Temecula. There's the Pachanga Casino. There's one, there's two neighborhoods actually there that are pretty close by that have no HOAs that are really, really not well taken care of. Usually I try and point that out to clients, and usually that ends up being not the area where they want to be. That could be something to pay attention to, something that's no HOA near the casino. But out of there might be 100 different tract home communities. That's like 2, right? And then maybe there's a couple apartment buildings that I would say, hey, probably not great places to live, right? That are probably, pretty inexpensive and on the lower cost side of things. But, across the board, like I said, 95% of the area is really, really nice. It's pretty squeaky clean. It is, really suburbia USA. We're in the suburbs. You're in an affordable area, tract homes. You gotta have a car to get around, but there's just really not much of a bad area. So really, when I have these conversations with clients that are relocating, most of our conversation ends up being, what are you looking for? Kind of what are your goals? What are you looking for in a property? And I think that's how I'm going to frame, kind of the rest of this video about, if you're looking for this, I think these are going to be a better option. So I think when you have an idea of what you're looking for, how you want to utilize your house, what's important to you, what goals you have, I think that will help dictate what's going to be the right area for you, because like I mentioned, 95% of the city is going to be a pretty nice place to live. So so a lot of the main people that I work with, and these are kind of a lot of their circumstances, so I'll kind of give you some examples. So if you are going to live here in Temecula and you're planning to commute to San Diego, which is most people, if that's going to be the case, then it would be highly beneficial and much better for your quality of life if you can live towards South Temecula. So if you look at a map, you can pull up a map of the city of Temecula. You have the 15 freeway is like the main freeway that runs from San Diego up towards LA basically. And off that 15 freeway, there's 3 off-ramps, and those are all part of the city of Temecula. So you have the most southern off-ramp, which is Temecula Parkway. You have the second off-ramp, so the middle one, that is going to be Rancho California Road. And then you have the third off-ramp, which is Winchester Road, okay? So you have those 3 off-ramps. And so that first one, which is Temecula Parkway, any home or any neighborhood that's going to be located on a map south of Temecula Parkway is going to be considered South Temecula. So that is the southern portion of the city. People refer to it as South Temecula. So if you are commuting towards San Diego, it is a huge time saver to live in South Temecula. So for example, if you were commuting to San Diego, and if you lived in South Temecula compared to living in the north part of the city, right off that Winchester Road, your commute time, even though you're still in the city of Temecula, it might be an extra 20 to 25 minutes each way on your commute. So say it's 25 minutes, that's going to be an extra 50 minutes a day in the car. It's almost an hour difference in your commute time. I mean, I think that's a huge deal for your quality of life. So if you are going to commute south, and if you can afford the price point, it's going to be much better to live in South Temecula. So that would really be something that I would try and target if you are commuting to San Diego. All right, so next example, if you are moving to Temecula because you love wine and you want to live in wine country or close to wine country, which that's a segment of the people that I deal with. If you want to live close to wine country, then there's going to be a certain area where you're going to want to live. So we talked about those 3 freeway off-ramps. The south one, Temecula Parkway, Rancho California, and Winchester. Rancho California Road is that middle off-ramp. That road runs east and west. If you take that road east, so away from the freeway, east, away from the hills, that will take you directly out to Temecula Wine Country. If you don't know, Temecula Wine Country is huge. There's over 50 wineries now. It's a big, huge tourist destination. People come out for wine tasting. People come out there's a ton of wedding venues out there. So weddings, bachelorette parties, wine tours, the whole thing. Nice, very, very nice restaurants. It's a big destination. It's really what has helped put the city of Temecula on the map and made it so notable, really nationwide now. But it's a big destination for people. So if you want to be located close to that, then you would want to buy a home towards Rancho California Road, more towards the east side. So there's several neighborhoods that are out that way. So that could be like Chardonnay Hills, that could be Temecula Hills, that could be there's a handful of neighborhoods right there off of Rancho California Road that could be good fits for you. So if you want to be close to the wineries, that's really where you're going to want to target, something close to that Rancho California Road, close to the east part of Rancho California Road. All right, so next example, let's say if you're going to move to the city of Temecula and you want to live in a new construction home, like what are your options and where are the best places for you to target? And so let's say just kind of our conversation purposes, let's say you want to live in a home that's 2010 and newer, right? You like HGTV, you like these modern open concept layouts with quartz counters, quartz waterfalls, big, huge, great rooms, and just like the big open concept layout, right? So where should you live? Well, kind of like I mentioned, you know, Temecula, most of the homes are built from like the mid 90s to mid 2000s. So most of them aren't going to really be great fits if you're looking for that newer construction. And really there's just going to be a handful of neighborhoods that will fit. Number one, there is still some new construction that's finishing up now, and that's going to be the neighborhood of Summers Bend. So there are still new construction homes that are for sale, still being built. And there's plenty of resale homes that have been built just over the last 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. So Summers Bend is going to be a great option for you to check out. Another one would be the neighborhood of Morgan Hill. Morgan Hill is located in that South Temecula area. I would say that's probably like the top tract home neighborhood in Temecula, Morgan Hill. It's prestigious, it's very nice. The HOA itself is a really, really good value, and those homes are built right in that 2010 and newer. And you have kind of a wide array of smaller houses to bigger houses to you know, some really cool view lots, a lot of cool different things that are out there. Another one would be the neighborhood of Wolf Creek. That is also in that South Temecula area. You get a lot of that's built, you know, 2010 and newer. So those would be the main places that I would recommend for people to check out if you are looking for more of that new construction type of home. All right, so the next scenario, let's say if you are moving to the city and you want to live where the top school is, and more specifically where the top high school is and where you would be zoned to be a part of the top high school. So if that's gonna be the case, the school that you're gonna wanna target there, the highest rated, is gonna be the Great Oak High School, and that is part of, again, South Temecula. So just the area that we talked about originally, that South Temecula, those are like the two biggest draws. It's closer for the commuters to San Diego, and number two, it is zoned for that top high school. I'll give you the disclaimer, across the board, the Temecula School District is a really, really high rated school. They're pretty much all 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, and 10 out of 10, almost exclusively across the board. And even the high schools in general, there's 3 high schools. I think they're all 9s out of 10s, and then Great Oak is the top, which is rated a 10 out of 10. So it is definitely the highest rated school. You must live in South Temecula to be zoned for that. You can theoretically do like a transfer if you live in another part of a city, but that's difficult to do, so I would not really count on that. If you for sure want your children to go to that school, you need to own a home that is zoned there, and to do that you would be living in that South Temecula area. All right, so the next example that we'll go over, let's say you decided you want to live in Temecula and you say, hey, I want to live here and I want to live in one of the top neighborhoods. I want to live in the most prestigious neighborhoods, the most highly rated, the most highly sought after neighborhoods in town. You know, where would I really want to look? So my list would be, number one would be that Morgan Hill community. That is, again, part of South Temecula. It's a great value for the HOA. I think it's like $110 per month, but they have a great, huge clubhouse, a really huge community pool, spa. They have tennis courts, there's a gym, you know, there's a billiards room in the clubhouse. There is really a lot. I believe there's a billiards room. I guess I should double check that. But there's really a lot that they offer, and it's a really, really good value. Not only that, the houses themselves are newer. Most are pretty much going to be 2010 and newer. So you have a lot of those open concepts. You have some great lots. As the neighborhood implies, the neighborhood is built on a hill, Morgan Hill. So half the neighborhood is built on the hill. So, well, all the neighborhood's built on the hill, but half the neighborhood is going to be on a view side. So it's going to have some really great views of the city, which are really, really hard to beat. And it's really a prestigious neighborhood. And I think it is really the top tract home neighborhood in Temecula. Number two on my list would be the neighborhood of Summers Bend. So Summers Bend, I'm a little biased here. That is the neighborhood that I live in, but it is a new construction community. It was built, I think, 2020 and newer. There's still new construction that's going on. They still have not finished up yet. So that'll be going over the next, I would say, year and a half, something like that. But because it's newer, you're gonna have those really cool open concept layouts, and you have kind of a wide selection of different types of homes. So from attached condos, detached condos, townhouses, small single family homes, large single family homes, and then large, almost like semi-custom estates on half-acre lots. So there's kind of a very wide spread, and there's also a 55 plus community that's in there as well. So really, really nice community. The next one, number three for me, would be the neighborhood of Crown Hill. Crown Hill we have not talked about, but it is just north of that Morgan Hill area. So you have that South Temecula line that we talked about. It's just past that. It's probably one street north, but it's a really, really nice community. It is a very quiet area. I think the HOAs are really good value. There's a lot of great views from different houses there as well. That's a favorite of mine. Number 4 would be the neighborhood of Paseo del Sol. Paseo del Sol has kind of an older section and a newer section, but the HOA is a really good value. The schools are great, where it's zoned. Most of the schools are going to be walking distance for elementary, middle, and high school. High school, I guess, might be biking distance, but all very, very close. So the location is very central, which I think is nice. And neighborhood number 5 would be the neighborhood of Wolf Creek. So Wolf Creek is in South Temecula. It's actually is located close to that casino, so that Pechanga Casino. But it's a very nice neighborhood, very well kept. There's a great big sports park that's there, part of the neighborhood, and something that I think is just a really nice area. So those would be the top neighborhoods, probably the most prestigious neighborhoods in the area, and they're also the largest. There are several other nice neighborhoods that a lot of them are going to be a little bit smaller, but those are all very large with quite a big selection as well. All right, so number 6, let's say if you want to move to Temecula, but you do not want a little cookie cutter tract home, you want to live on some property, you want some space, you want some land, and you want to have horses. So there is a pretty large horse community here in Temecula. It is very involved. People are very serious about the horses, and there's all types of trainers and communities and trails, and it is a big presence that a lot of people don't realize before they make a move here. So if that's important to you, the places I would check out would be the Santiago Estates and Los Ranchitos area. So that is a great, great location. It's really located right in the middle of town, right in the middle of Temecula, right next to the freeway. But if you were there, you would not realize how central you are. So it feels very isolated, it feels very quiet, and I think it's a great area, a lot of flat terrain, which is great for horses. And also you have the wine country area. So we talked about in Temecula, there's about 50 wineries or over 50 wineries out there. There's a lot of big properties that are going to be on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 acre lots. A lot of great horse property, a lot already developed as far as having corrals and having all the different horse equipments and everything that you would need. So definitely great horse property out there in wine country as well, and it's a little more affordable than what's in the center of town in that Santiago Estates area. The price point's it's a pretty big price dip living in wine country as opposed to Santiago Estates because of just the location, right? You're in wine country a little bit farther out, so you got to drive just a little bit more, so it's gonna be more affordable. Then the next scenario to talk about is, let's say if you want to live in a large property, but you don't necessarily care about flat and usable land, so you don't necessarily care about horses, right? But you just want space, you want to be away from your neighbors, and you want some great views. Well, if that's the case, then you're going to want to target a different area. That's going to be the area of Duluth. So again, if you look on a map, you have that 15 freeway, runs pretty north and south. If you look on where that Rancho California road is, that was that main exit in the middle that we talked about, that runs east and west. If you took that west, so towards the hills, towards the mountains, those mountains and hills, that's going to be called the area of Duluth. Duluth is a really cool area. It is very hilly, very green. There is all types of crops out there. So there's a lot of people have avocado trees, fruit trees, so lemon trees, grapefruit trees, I guess lime trees as well. Some people do have some grapevines as well. But it's very, very, very pretty just because of the topography, very hilly. Your minimum acre size is going to be about 4 acres out there. So you're going to have big lots. You kind of get a hodgepodge as far as you might have something that's a little bit more flat, or you might have something that's 5 acres on a hilltop, and the only thing that's usable is going to be the 5,000 square feet at the top where your hilltop view is. But when you have that, you're going to have some really awesome 360-degree views. There's going to be some really cool things there. So it's an area that I like quite a bit. I'm not, we don't have horses. We don't. That's not really something that I aspire to as important to me. So if that's the case, then Duluth might be a really good place for you to check out. If you want some space, of course, there's some price point that comes with that, but you're going to have some great views for sure. And then lastly, let's say you're moving to Temecula and you decide this is the right area for you, but you do not want to live in an HOA. Let's say I want to live in a tract home, but I am anti-HOA, I hate HOAs, I don't want rules, I don't want regulations. Well, there are still going to be some really good options. So all those other neighborhoods that I listed, pretty much all of them are going to be part of HOA communities, but that is not the case for every place in Temecula. I would say probably about 25–30% of the city has no HOA, so there definitely are some really good options for you. There is a spot in South Temecula it's called Vale Ranch. It's kind of in the middle of the South Temecula area. So if you don't want an HOA, that could be an area to check out. And then most of central Temecula, most of the middle, the heart of the city of Temecula could be a really good option for you to take a look at. So that is going to be areas right off of Murrieta Road, north of Rancho California Road, kind of in the middle of town. You can find quite a few neighborhoods that have no HOA. So if you don't want those rules, if you don't want to deal with that, then that can be something for you to check out. So again, and I mentioned it at the beginning, but across the board, the city of Temecula is a really, really nice place. I would say 95% of the city is going to be a nice place to live. Very nice, quiet, clean suburb that is very safe, highly rated schools, and again, I think it's a great place to live, right? So there's really not very many bad places, very, very, very few neighborhoods that I would really cross off most people's lists. So because of that, really, you want to think about where would be the right neighborhood? What would I be looking for? What am I hoping for in a house, in a neighborhood? I'm okay with an HOA? Do I want to live something that has community pools and all these things? Or do I want newer construction, right? Think about what your priorities are. And I think that really help you out with your search. So I hope the video helps. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can call, you can text, you can email me, and hopefully talk to you soon. Thanks.